Opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello everyone, and I hope you stuck around from Scarefest Radio for tonight's presentation of Body and Spirit, brought to you by Mama Ruby's family of metaphysical and holistic and spiritual events. Speaking of that, this weekend is Mystical Fair weekend in Lexington, Kentucky. Go to mysticalfairlex.com. They are the sponsor of this show. And walk in there and make sure they know that you heard about the fair right here on Scarefest Radio's Body and Spirit. Tonight, I don't even remember why this came to mind. Chris Sutton stuck around. He was my co-host for the previous hour. Chris Sutton is... I finally caught him doing something he shouldn't have been doing.
That was stretching, man. Sit for an hour already.
But of course, Chris is a regular on as a host on that show and regular educational guest on this show. He is a shaman, Coyote Chris Sutton, he calls himself. But I about a month ago, I don't know why it popped into my head, but I wanted to know more about spirit animals. And the reason, and I don't remember why it came up, except it was probably some meme going around on Facebook about spirit animals. Now, to give everybody a little background on my own thing, spirit animals were not, to me that was always a shamanic tradition, Chris. That's where that really came from. So where is...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in other words, it didn't fit into my Judeo-Christian philosophy, so I never gave it much thought. And then I had Willie Windwalker was he's a shaman out of Louisville, and he told me when he was doing a reading for me, he said, "You have a spirit animal," and I said, "Okay, fine." And he described it to me, and he described. Now this is where I am told that my spirit animal is a red wolf. Now, I've never felt like I've connected with it except calling on it to help me on a particular case I was working. But he said the interesting thing about lots of people have wolves for spirit animals. That's not uncommon. But he said yours was the first one I ever saw that circled. He said yours paces. It's like waiting to rip someone's face off. That type of thing. It's very protective, in other words. So, first of all, of course, Chris thinks my spirit animal is a skunk. Well, we might go into that a little bit later.
That's because of familiarity. We'll talk about why you get certain spirit animals. But, there's different ways to get them.
But first thing, because it gets thrown around so much, I was curious. What is the proper way, if there is a proper way, or is it individual, a person to find out and connect with their spirit animal?
Usually, sometimes, you've got when it comes to any type of spirit guides and things like that, and the traditions that I know about, whether they be a spirit or a animal, you have to be kind of ready for it. You may already have it, but until you show interest in that type of thing, generally it doesn't come around. Now, your case, we went and saw Willie, and he said, "Okay, Wes, you have this red wolf that's doing this around you." You run into the right person to tell you what it is. So basically, it kind of boils down to most times you have to either actively seek it or spirit puts you in line with somebody who's going to deliver the news to you. And in your case, that's usually how it works. You have to kind of have somebody kind of beat you over the head a little bit to get it down. So
no argument.
I open up to yeah. I mean, every tradition is different. I mean, in their own ways, but by and large, I mean, in some cultures everybody has them, but you have to go out and find them. Some of the planes I mentioned, a part of your vision quest was to see what animals came around you and things like that. What animals you came to you in your dreams, and every time you dreamed of an animal or something like that, you go back to the old shaman, the old medicine person, and tell them what you dreamed about this animal and that sort of thing. Or conversely, if you see this animal keep coming around you all the time, that's a different way of how might it come about.
Now, I can tell you I've never had a wolf come around me, although that video that's circulating on Facebook of the little baby wolf howling, cutest thing ever. But I've never had a wolf come around. I've never dreamt about thinking about it, after you mentioned that, I cannot remember ever dreaming about any animal. I mean, it just, I'm not saying I haven't, I'm just saying it didn't leave a lasting impression on me. Now the follow-up to that previous question is, now once a person connects to their spirit animal, but what is the benefit of, is there a benefit to connecting to your spirit animal?
Well, it can give you a sense of who you are, and also bring you messages. And that's probably the most important thing, is that these animals, those are the important two things to me. Because, like with coyote, all right, so I got coyote tattoos on my arms. It came to me in several different ways through dreams and through actual close encounters and that type of thing. But the reason I keep these on my arms is because it reminds me of who I am. And a lot of times the animals that we are, and you can have more than one spirit animal, but the animals that you are connected with will display certain things about you that you need to be focusing on. Like, let's look up like the wolf, okay, which I got a handy little sheet here. You have characteristics and behaviors that no longer serve your spiritual purpose or being called from your consciousness. Make cooperation a priority over competition. And so it'll give you these messages like, all right, Les, you need to kind of chill out and to get rid of things you don't need anymore. And
God, ain't that the damn truth?
I know, yeah. Yeah. And
I didn't need a wolf to tell me that, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, but that's what I mean, reflects your personality kind of. I mean, sometimes you start with one thing, like you with Brother Skunk. But these are animals that you have a lot of contact with, and so maybe even Skunk's got something to tell you. Maybe not, it doesn't seem like it, but you stop and think about these. If you look at the world as nothing's an accident, you dream about something, you have close encounters with some type of animal. Like take a wolf. You said you've never seen a wolf. You're not going to see a red wolf in Kentucky because they're all dead. They were hunted out a long time ago. Now, if they're doing a wolf restoration in Kentucky, but you're probably not going to see one. A friend of mine in England, Alan Tickhill, would call that a totem animal, which means an animal you're not ever around, but you can. It does exist, and it's something that's important to you. You dream about it. A medicine person tells you about it, how it's close to you, how it's behaving around you, and. So in that case, Willie is telling you that this red wolf is being very protected. You'll never see one, and come up to your back door. It's still there. It's just in a different form. So it came to you in a different way, and so that it has just as much importance as if like one of my first animals was the hawk, and I saw him constantly my first year or so in study, and so that's but that. In that case, that is a sign from Spirit that you have messages coming in. You keep your eyes open, ears open. The reminders you to act like you're supposed to act and be who you're supposed to be. And that's one of the hardest things. They're all helpers to us on our medicine path, on our mystical path, to keep your ass in line and to remember who you are and what you're here to be. or to start reminding you, hey, you need to get on the path to who you're supposed to be. The wolf was circling you to protect you because you're getting ready to learn new things, getting ready to go through new times and things like that. And you did, and after that, you went through a lot of rough stuff. And so, I mean, and that wolf's there to help keep you together, to protect you. And that's what that spiritual power is. I mean, is it a real wolf? No. It's not a real wolf. But it is the energy of that wolf, the power of that wolf, and that means a certain thing. Every wolf has a certain power.
See, I don't want to say it bothered me, but maybe it did bother me a little bit. Because now the first reading I got from him, he said it was generic. It was a wolf. Mm-hmm. Then the second time, or another time that he was with me, he said, then he got specific. It was a red wolf. And then I actually Googled it. And I mean, the poor things are practically extinct. They live in like 1 or 2 preserves. And I'm thinking, oh, great. I drew the animal that in 10 years won't even be on this earth. Although maybe that's much as myself. But like, once again, it actually, the timing on it was funny in that a case that I worked like just a week or 2 later, this visualization, if you will, of having my own wolf actually was very applicable to that event. And so I do, and I've always said that's one thing about, that's why I like getting psychic readings. I always feel like I when I'm given information, specific information, that means I need it soon. Sure. And it's not a year down the road. It's I need it then. So I do appreciate that. Everybody, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. We'll be right back with more Body and Spirit. Have you checked out the Mama Ruby's family of metaphysical and spiritual shows? The Mystical Fair in Lexington, Kentucky, Lexington's only monthly psychic and holistic healing arts fair. The Inner Light Festivals in Louisville in June and Lexington in November. And watch for Mama Ruby's Expo coming in 2020. Plus, Mama Ruby's Meta Lecture Series featuring interesting guests speaking on fascinating subjects. Start your journey now at mamarubies.com for more information. And everyone remember, the Mystical Fair Lexington is Lexington's only monthly psychic and holistic healing arts fair. Whipple Court, Lexington, Kentucky. They've got foot detox. All types of healers come to it. The admission is just $5 for the day. $8 for the weekend. Although I've never actually went both days. But they got readers, psychics. If you're interested in just finding out more about this, it is, as our previous guest said, Bev said, it's a safe space. No pressure. I've walked through that building and not had any of them do more than say hi. In other words, they're not going to flag you over and say, here, come on, I need to read your aura. That's not the way it works. They do have free seminars throughout the day. So there's some things if you just want to sit and learn. And you can pre-book. But in fact, most of the psychics, you need to pre-book. They actually, by the time the fair rolls around, their calendar, their dance card is already full. So go to mysticalfairlex.com to find out more. And if you want to take a chance, book with our previous guest, although I bet you she's already booked up. I bet you by the end of showtime, I bet she's already booked up. But there's lots of other great ones that are there. Give them a look. Now, one thing Chris mentioned, we're talking tonight about spirit animals, just because I like animals. One thing you mentioned, people should not confuse. I do believe, and I try to watch this. This is one of those things that I've always kind of ignored. But now you kind of alluded to it, where you will see an animal that's out of place. And I quite often see them more than once. So I do try to watch for because here on the farm, there's not that many animals that stand out. But I do try to watch, for the ones that seem out of place. A couple that come to mind. See if these mean anything to you, Mr. Shaman. Now, okay, the crane, the big tall bird. Now, there's nothing unusual about a crane per se. We have ponds. They like eating frogs. But we do have one here on the farm that on occasion lets you get like rock throwing distance from it, which is highly unusual. And it doesn't happen all that often, but just the other day, we just drove right up on top of him, and he's looking at us like, it's cool. So I don't know if cranes have any specific meaning, but I try to watch for unusual deer. I've been told that they have meanings. Lots of birds do, but that's kind of out of my wheelhouse. What are some of the... Do you happen to know some of the things that people should look for?
Well, first you talk about the crane. I'm not going to sit here and say I know every freaking animal. I got my Kindle here with my my stuff in it, so I keep notes, and I have little books that I use. The crane means do what you need to do to bring greater balance into your life. It's a time of great abundance and plenitude, one in which you won't want for anything, which comes prosperity. Cranes are about prosperity, and actually can also mean long life as well. So, which could be a blessing or a curse for you, considering how you live. But also back way in the future, that fear, trepidation. In other words, chill out right now. Things could get better. But, about bringing balance to yourself, bringing balance to your life. And everybody talks about get grounded. And it makes you insane after a while because people keep saying that. But to be able to be grounded, you have to come to realization, come to grips, and come to know all about yourself and the things that bother you and why they bother you and why you need to have them stop bothering you. And bring in, if you need to work less, I know it's hard for you to do that, then you need to pull back a little bit because it means bringing more. If you're too much in the physical world, you need to get into the mental and spiritual world more.
I don't worry about working too much, but I will say, and this would play in, of course, then I can tell the crane, hey, dude, I already know this. I am trying to create more balance in my life in that I've realized that I've got to quit stressing over work. It's one thing to have plenty to do. I don't mind being busy. I like being busy. But I've started once again making an effort to just not worry about stuff.
Yeah.
Just let the things happen that are going to happen. And then I get news, and we're not going to talk about it on the show, but then I get news this last couple of weeks that my stress level is getting ready to go off the charts.
Right.
So I'm actually preparing for that.
So Crane would say to you, okay, smart ass, if you know all this, why do I have to keep coming back to remind you?
Well, he might have had to come back to remind me because, come to think of it, the timetables were kind of interlinked there. In other words, about the time I made up my mind to get rid of stress, then something else stressful. The universe just... But something... So, in other words, there's an...
It's going to keep giving you lessons till you keep learning them. Okay, so don't even want to, even if it has stress written all over it and marked, special delivery for Wes, say, I'll take the package, but I ain't taking the stress with it.
Now,
I'm just not going to respond that way.
Now we're going to jump over to skunks. Now, anybody that follows my career here on the farm knows that if there's... skunks are just not one of my favorite animals. And it's not just that they smell. I'll put it this way. Any of you nature lovers out there, and believe me, I love nature. I'm an earth guy. I love all of God's creatures, except for skunks. And if you think I'm being harsh, until you have two of them fornicate under your open window, don't judge me. Now, if you've had that happen, if you've had two skunks frolic under your bedroom window on a nice, cool spring morning, then come at me, dude. But otherwise, and see, and here on the farm, another part of my task, if you will, my lot in life is I have to protect animals. And I know a lot of people. Skunks are omnivores. They will eat anything, from the food that we grow in the garden to the chickens we raise in our hen house. If it will fit in their mouth, they will eat it. They're just not as vicious as some other animals. They won't go out of their way to kill a chicken. But if they walk in a chicken coop, it's like, hey. So in other words, that's what I'm going to say. Now, I'm going to stick my neck out and say that the skunks that I encounter have no lesson for me. And the reason I'm going to say that is I cannot imagine all of these suicidal spirit animals coming my way.
Well, they give themselves, like your cattle give themselves for meals and stuff. They give themselves as well. Let's see, skunk. Be assertive and stand your ground as necessary. And don't let yourself be manipulated or pushed around. Make your self-respect and dignity a top priority, offering the same respect to others. You're taking yourself far too seriously and need to relax, play, and trust that everything is all right. So I can see why you're stacking up dead skunks like cordwood.
I'm actually shocked that is the skunk's byline. That's what that shocks me. I don't think of a skunk. I mean, I have to admit they do stand their own ground. They'll walk right up to you and just keep right on walking. They don't give a rat's ass. So I did learn something there. But yeah, that's the one animal that just needs to learn to stay the hell out of my way, because I have very little patience.
Another one here, kind of down where your sensuality and sexuality are in a heightened state right now. So explore the uses of natural scents and essential oils. Do with that as you will.
And fornicate under the window. But anyway, when we're talking about that type of phenomenon, I do believe, like I said, that sometimes if we can catch the cues of the universe, they do try to teach us lessons. But these are not to be mistaken for spirit animals. Let's just
not necessarily, but they can still be messengers as well. They don't have to be a spiritual animal, but I can see where someone would say, like, okay, we got another order for another 12 skunks for Forsyth because he's not getting his lesson. So here they come marching out of the woods and to fall prey to your shotgun. But just to keep reminding you. I mean, it's like I remember a story of, usually when I get these nice, and if you can see it above my picture up there, there's a. I shouldn't show that because it's illegal. But some of these feathers that we get, and they're found inside the roads where like a hawk or some other raptor is flown right into a utility line, and down they go, and they gift themselves the feathers and the wings for feather fans and things like that. And I saw a friend of mine one time, was up in the Dakotas, and he said that he's an Indian guy, and he said that finally they got so many, like, stop. We got enough. We thank you for your gift, So, they got plenty of hawks. They have plenty of those because they're there for a reason. And, as some animals' reason is for food. Other animals, their spirits are there to help heighten our awareness if we are willing to listen.
Now, from the chat room, it was asked, and you brought it up, and I kind of glossed over it. You mentioned some animals are we encounter as totem animals versus spirit animals. What is the difference in a spirit animal and a totem animal?
A spirit animal is one you can see in your environment. Like where I live, there's no bears, and so if I would have if I had a bear, a spirit animal would be a totem. But hawk is one of them. So hawks fine. So there's plenty of hawks around here. But yeah, or you with the red wolf, you're not going to see one in Kentucky because they're almost extinct. Those are the totem animals. Those you can't. You have no chance. If you see one of these escape from the zoo or something like that, that's some reason that you would see it because it's just not there. Now, bear or something like that could happen where I live because they're about a state south, so it's not impossible. But it's basically almost impossible for you to see. Some people have what they call dragon medicine, spirit animals, and so that would be a totem. You also get sort of into the mythical realm as well, with dragon energy. And so, but basically, if I can walk any animal, I can go out my front door or take a reasonable drive and see, would be a spirit animal, where the totem animal would be like if it's a grizzly bear, polar bear, they were near me. So those would be totem animals. But they're just as equally as strong and powerful to you. Totem animals, we keep thinking about them, things like that. You look up the meanings and get the message, or they come to you in dreams, however. Shamanically, they'll come to you in shamanic journeys, or meditation. They'll come to you in meditation if you're a meditator. So, yeah, I mean, they just put out to the universe that I want to meet my spirit animals or totem animals, or whatever you got for me to show me. I want to meet them. And you get them in time. I've gotten 4, and they don't all come at once. As you get down the path, you'll get a new one sometimes. And not everybody does, I don't think, but I think you can.
I think I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it came from the chat room, and it is a really good question. When we think of spirit animals, we think of the wolves and that's the one that comes to mind. But actually, hawks come to mind. So there's actually a meme going around. It's not a meme, but it's a photo going around Facebook now that's got like a dozen animals in it that are all kind of blurred together, and allegedly the one that pops out when you first look at it, that's your spirit animal. Interestingly enough, the wolf did pop out for me. But could a dragonfly be a spirit animal?
Sure can. Dragonflies are about change and things happening. So as an agent of change, a dragonfly could be your spirit animal, certainly. Just because it's an insect doesn't mean it's something that you just fluff off. Ant could be one of your spirit animals. It's you're diligent and you put away for a rainy day and take care of things and take care of your family, your colony. So yeah, I mean every animal. I tend to shy away from domesticated animals, domesticated cats, domesticated dogs, things like that, because you could kind of say they kind of lost that part of them because they're actually serving in a different way because they're friends to humans and they do kind of a different role.
And I would think the familiarity would in other words, it would weaken. In other words, they're not going to teach you the lesson because you're feeding me.
Yeah, exactly. There's a conflict of interest there.
Good way to put it. I guess it's time for our next commercial break. Everybody, we'll be right back with more Body and Spirit, brought to you by Mama Ruby's family of holistic and metaphysical shows. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to coyotechris.com to learn more. And welcome back, everybody, to Body and Spirit, brought to you by Mama Ruby's. Now, of course, we're talking spirit animals tonight, but first, before we even get back to spirit animals, Chris has had body parts replaced lately. When do you get back into the fray, boy?
I get back in the fray August the 10th. For you guys that haven't heard out there, in January I had my left hip replaced, and I thought I could play it cool and loose because my right one was just as bad. And I thought, well, I'll wait till after Thanksgiving to get done, and keep my usual schedule. Well, that wasn't to be. So I went to the surgeon, and we got the second one replaced a week ago for Monday. So it's been about 11, 12 days. I'm doing really good. So, I mean, I'll be, I think August the 10th will be my first event after the surgery, and that gives me 6 weeks. And so I'm actually walking pretty good right now. You'd be amazed. I mean, this is how this surgery stuff goes. A cane right now is optional. I don't have to use a cane if I don't want to. But it hurts, and it doesn't make the pain go away like that. But it's a lot better than what it could have been. That's for sure. But yeah. I should be back to work in 3 weeks. I mean, by the third week after surgery, and then I'll be back on the road again. So actually, we're going to a place you and I have been to before together for our school. And we're having a benefit for Will and Jacqueline Conkle, who had some kind of hard times, like a car catching on fire, and Will break his ankle in 20 places, and he's a laborer, so they've had some rough ways to go. So if you go to Parafamily. Parafamily events on Facebook. You can get the link to get tickets and things like that, and then check it out. It's a real worthwhile event.
Now, by the way, I didn't do it to you when you were going in for surgery. We had a friend that got an infection when he had his hip replaced, and they had to take the hip out, and he had to go for like 30 days without a hip.
Yeah, they put like a block of stuff in there. That's all antiseptic and stuff like that. Yeah, I've heard of that. So I tell you what, this guy, if you ever had to have replaced, I would say you drive from Kentucky to this guy, because this dude, he's got everything taken care of. I mean, I have to wear these socks for a whole month to make sure blood clot doesn't kill me. All this stuff around, hygiene and all this other, it's just, watching the surgical scar and things like that. It's just, I mean, this guy's making sure that shit don't happen. But it can happen in the less of time. So, but if it hasn't happened by now, I'm okay. So.
Well,
thank you for bringing it up. I'll sleep.
We are all certainly glad that you are recovering quickly and speedily and without undue shit going on. Now back to spirit animals. And I forgot what my next question was going to be. Do people as now when I was told about mine, it's not something I even asked about. It was just part of a overall shamanic reading, and he felt like that was information that I could use or needed or whatever. Is that something that as a shaman, do people approach you about that? Is that one of the things in your readings that comes up regularly, or do you find that most people just don't?
Whether you're talking about spirit animals?
Yeah.
I mean, readings, talking to people, anytime I do any kind of class. I have a group that meets once a month in town here at the Mineral Springs, and it's not all shamanism, it's all this other stuff, but in that, I mean, that's one of the most popular questions, I would say, knowing who their spirit guides were and who their spirit animals were, and how to make connections to both would be two really big questions. I mean, if they're in the shamanic mindset of things, otherwise it's, they want to read you like anybody else would, but I always tell people, I am not a fortune teller. I do shaman stuff, but it's all good. It's we might try to read that down most of the time. But it's a huge question, and I understand.
I'm still, like I said, in my case, other than the one event. Now you've told me some stuff about what the wolf means. Okay, yeah, it makes some sense to me, but it wasn't. Considering I'm so into animals, like everybody, one of the reasons you keep seeing Anita, my producer's arm, is because we have a dog in here that thinks it's time for me to go to bed. So I'm, our bed is a field of dogs. So that's kind of where I come from. But I'm still knowing what my spirit animal was. Now I can apply it. I apply it in the spiritual realm, in the metaphysical field. In other words, I know I've got that tool. I think of it as a tool at my disposal. But I think we kind of touched on this. But how does having that connection help the average person?
Even if, okay, you're talking about an average person that does or does not have awareness of the spirit animal.
Your casual Facebook person who just wants to know about their spirit animal more out of curiosity. In other words, they're not leveraged. In other words, they're not seeking. They're not actively seeking to leverage it, but how could they leverage it?
Well,
that makes sense.
It makes sense. You have to interact with it one way or the other. You have to acknowledge it. I know people who are into owls. My sister's into owls, and she kind of sees that. She doesn't actively. She admires what I do, and she has her own way of believing stuff. So she's not in the shamanic thing, but she really sees kind of the owl as her spirit animal. With regards with she's not being metaphysical at all. She just kind of feels an affinity to it and a cosmic kind of closeness to it. And so she has owl stuff around. And so, as far as for her, it gives her that. She knows what the owl is. It's about wisdom and things like that. And so, and about using your wisdom in good ways. So she does that. She does what these do. That helps remind her again what she does in life, because she likes to teach. She's been a teacher her whole life. And so, an owl's a perfect spirit animal for a teacher.
Well, I want to follow up on what you just said a little bit. The outside of domesticated animals, as you pointed out, is a person likely to be drawn to their spirit animal either by form or image?
Sure. That's very possible. You may not know why.
Well, I didn't say is it possible. I said is it likely.
I don't know. I've never done a quantitative study of it, so I can't tell you.
But you talk to people.
I would say it is likely, yes, that you may not know why, but you will have an affinity to it. Like you're watching National Geographic. Oh, I love the giraffe, and every time they got a giraffe keychain because giraffes are so cool. And like my son with penguins, he loves penguins, and even though he has his own medicine thing, he has a difference, which is different than mine. But he was there since he was little. He loves penguins, and so there's penguin in medicine there for him. So yeah, I would say anytime you have affinity for an animal and you don't know why, it doesn't make who the hell thinks a warthog's cute, But some we're drawn to it.
Would you say now? Based on what you just said, would you say that we choose our spirit animal chooses us, or the universe chooses it for us?
It is I think it's more of a universal thing, but I will say this. If you feel drawn to a certain animal, you can ask for a certain animal as well. You're not told without choice. It doesn't mean that's what you're going to get. It depends on what reason that you want it for. But I think mostly it starts with our higher selves, as some people call it, our connection with spirit, and spirit decides, or this is what this person needs to, to help him become more self-actualized, is to take on the qualities or the meanings behind this animal. And so, when I started, doing psychic work. That was the first thing I ever did out of all my medicine work. The hawk was my medicine animal then, because they see far, and then seers can have animals that see a long way. So that was my first one to help me.
But Hawk Chris Sutton didn't have a ring to it, did it?
No, it didn't. It didn't look good on business cards. But actually, somebody else begged me that first, and then I counsel along with it. So, but yeah, I mean, the answer, be succinct to my answer, I said, yes, I think it's mostly spiritually driven.
Okay. Let's go ahead and knock in our final commercial break of the hour, and then we'll come back in and do a little more body and spirit.
All right.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil. Most of us know that CBD is a cannabis compound that has significant medical benefits, but does not make people high. Its benefits include pain relief, anti-seizure properties, anxiety relief, fights cancer, reduces the risk of diabetes, and it is even used as a sleep aid. Blue Leaf Naturals CBD and hemp products are full-spectrum hemp extract oils. They use only hemp grown in Kentucky, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses and helping you and your family stay healthy and well. Blue Leaf Naturals, created with care from seed to shelf. Visit their website at blueleafnaturals.com. Blue Leaf Naturals, a Kentucky proud company.
And if you're interested in Blue Leaf Naturals, go to the Mystical Fair Lexington. They will have a booth set up. They've got some sample sizes if you don't want to make a big investment. But one thing that you should look for when you're doing the CBD oil, it is important that it is organically grown here in Kentucky under the Kentucky Pride label. First of all, it just economically, that's the economics of it makes sense if you're here in Kentucky with me. But the other thing is, since CBD has become mainstream, if you will, so much of it is being imported and the ingredients are not up to par. But when you see that Kentucky Pride label on it, you know that it is going out under the proper controls that give you a pure product that will most likely meet your needs. BlueLeafNaturals.com. Now, another sponsor that I need to give a big plug to because they've never given me a script and so I don't have a really cool commercial made for them, Akashic Awareness, Elizabethtown, Kentucky. A metaphysical healing and learning center unlike any other in Kentucky. A large selection of crystals, gems, and minerals greet you the minute you walk in the door. They offer a good selection of metaphysical tools, state-of-the-art healing classes, and lectures. Keep abreast of all that's going on. Stop by their website, AkashicAwareness.com, AKASHIC awareness.com. Check them out. They'll be at the Mystical Fair also this weekend, set up. And coming up on, well, I guess that's while they're gone. That's pretty good. They will be, Mark and Shelley will be at the Mystical Fair, but their place will still be open. Reiki with Nancy. Nancy, one of their practitioners, will be doing Reiki. Then Thursday the 18th, Rachel Centron will be back down there doing massage therapy. Go to their website. They've always got something on their calendar. AkashicAwareness.com. Well, I think I've about beat through this spirit animal thing. You've answered my questions unusually well for you. You've been very succinct tonight.
That's because I'm still healing, getting out of that morphine fog and stuff. And so, yeah, I'm kind of cooperative tonight. I will have to say that. Usually, I give you a harder time.
This is true. Just to kind of round out the discussion on it. And I may have already asked this in a different way, but now short of going to a shaman or whoever, a psychic, is there any way for a person that just wants to connect to their spirit animal, do you think that they can just do that through meditation themselves, or is that something they should be guided to?
You might need some help with the interpretation, but no, I mean, I tell people this all the time, that, especially if you live, when it's nice out, go to a nearby park or, someplace where it's not a ton of people. I have a great little nature institute not too far from where I live. Go out there and find you a stump or a place to sit and just feel, just meditate and, ask for the animals to come and visit you. That's the perfect time you can see what comes around and, repeat until you see, if you repeat a few times until you see what happens, what comes around you. And sometimes it takes them a while because you open the door up and say, hey, I'd like to meet my spirit animal now. It doesn't mean they're going to come rushing right up to you. You got to show some inclination that you're serious about it. This isn't some, cutesy thing because they're not going to play that. They want to feel you out and make sure that you're ready for these messages. You're not going to blow them off and waste their time. So you have to go in there with open heart, open mind, and just put out there, I will accept anything. I just want to know, I would love to meet my spirit animal. You can do the same thing through meditation. There are a lot of different types of guided meditations talk about journeying and going to certain places, and those will work. The shamanic journey will work, but then you start to do the shamanic journeys. That's kind of, you're more into the thick of things, and if you're just kind of a casual wanting to figure it out. But yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no you don't have to pass some secret test. Go out and find your spirit animal. You can go do that. Sure.
Now,
the thing is, you have to be honest with yourself about it. If you see a groundhog keep coming around, you can't say, well, I don't want a groundhog. Well, too bad. You got a groundhog for them. I mean, groundhog's cool. Groundhog's smart. Knows the ways of the earth. Is grounded. I mean,
that's actually
really cool.
That actually plays right into my next question. People come to you and say, ask about their spirit animals. Ask, what is in your opinion, if you even have an opinion on this, what is the most mundane spirit animal that you have come across?
I can't say that any of them are mundane. They all have something. I mean, everybody thinks that having an eagle, especially a bald eagle, that's what you want to. That's what you have to have, with a wolf or something big and tough, or something really crazy. But none of them are. There's no animal that's any mightier than the other one when it comes to this type of stuff, because we all need different things. And we were talking earlier about dragonflies, and a little bitty old dragonfly, means as much as a grizzly bear. Why? Because a dragonfly teaches us about changing ourselves and helping others to change in a positive way. What could be more helpful to yourself and to the people around you than that? So yeah, there's no such thing as a mundane. Now, people will say, "Oh, it's they're not being serious about what's going on."
I wondered if because in the infinite universe of animals, I mean, there's a lot of animals out there, and I was just wondering if there's like one of them that just like meant. In other words, it's not so much that the animal's mundane, but they're like their life lesson is like eat more cheese,
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I was going to see if they got dung beetle in here, but I don't think they do. You have to wonder about the dung beetle.
Well, see, now I could sit here and I could come up with a very good life lesson. I would not be surprised if the dung beetle, knowing some of the shit that I go through, was my spirit animal. See, that would make perfect sense to me. Yeah. See, that would make perfect sense to me.
But they're industrious and they do a job, and so good for the dung beetle. Yeah, no, it all can play into something much larger. It's like, you got screwed. You got a chipmunk, or something like that. No, it's not.
Okay, I did. Well, see, the reason I asked that, although it sounds like a flippant, funny question, and I guess it really was. But I just know that when I do my readings, sometimes the answers are like, this is it. One woman asked me if should I leave my husband? At first I'm thinking, you ask a $5 psychic if you should leave your husband. But then the cards came up, and the message, one card, normally I do more than one card. One card came up, and it basically was a picture of a guy running off a roof with his hair on fire. And I said, he is going to do something so stupid you won't even have to ask. Right. I said, I'm not telling you you're going to you leave your husband.
That's right.
But the message that I get is it's going to be so freaking obvious that, and it's going to be because he runs off a roof with his hair on fire. It's going to be that blatant.
Where do you get these cards? Yes. Did you show me this deck? Is this a new deck you have?
No, that's the Terror of Fire, dude. That's a classic.
Oh, that's your one. Yes.
It's a Terror of Fire.
Used by top psychics everywhere. Yes.
Really? I don't know. That is one of my serious decks. It's not like the Cat Tarot, although I get my best readings off the Cat Tarot, but no, the Tarot of Fire, but it's actually a traditional deck. But one of the photos, one of the paintings, and that's what it is. And because I just look at the pretty pictures, that's the message that I got.
Sometimes that's all you got to do. Just look at the pretty pictures and let it come to you from that. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's all I got, dude. That is all I got. And of course, everybody, now you'll be seeing Chris on Scarefest Radio periodically through the next couple of months as we lead up to the Scarefest. But he is coming in for the Scarefest, so if you don't want to drive to Iowa,
Yeah,
see him
right.
there.
Yes, I live in Illinois. Actually, I just been having my summer in Iowa for some reason. So, I got a couple more. I got a gig in Indiana this year. It's August the 28th. Hunt the town. You're gonna do like about 6-7 different places. With me and Doogie and the Ray Chasers. A couple of. I think the Booths are gonna be there too. So that'll be kind of a rowdy time. But yeah, no, I got some a little bit different. But yeah, I had to cancel an Iowa gig because of my surgery though. But I'll be up there 3 more times this year. I think I'll end up in November. But yeah, no, I get, I'm getting around. Like I'm doing some Illinois gigs this year, which is cool. I don't have to drive as far. And I've already done my long road trip. I went to Buffalo to the Hinsdale House last weekend before last, right? Like I said in the last show, I got off the plane on Sunday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was on the operating table by 8 o'clock the next morning, or 9 o'clock, something like that. So I was quite ready for it too. I was a hurting puppy by the time my ass got back to St. Louis. So I don't care. We talk about people being mystical, and have all this, these powers, and you have energies and stuff that the universe gives you to work with and whatnot. But your physical body, most of them is your body and the spirit. Your body will kick your ass, okay? And so you got to pay attention to your body. I mean, I let this kind of stuff just kind of ride for a while, and I'm telling everybody, don't do that. I put stuff off, and like my body's all busted up, but my spirit is still strong. But I will tell you this: I'm going to give you this one piece of advice, Wes. And I realize this. Okay, so you think to yourself, I'm having surgery. And I'm going to have this time where I'm going to sit back and reflect and maybe make changes in what I'm doing, in my events and things like that, in both sides of my career, my muggle job and my job, my spiritual jobs and things like that. But after trying to do that a little bit, I realized that since I was on morphine and Percocets, it's not a good time to make rational decisions. So I'm going to tell you this. You ever have to go to any surgery like this and you just got to go out on the drugs for a while? Don't. Just heal. Don't try to do anything other than that because you're going to make bad. I was thinking about some of the decisions. I'm going to do this and this and this. I looked at it a week later and thought, holy Christ. I can't.
No, I try. I will not make life plans while I'm taking it. But I will say some good meditation back when I had a bad toothache. That's... So everybody,
how many do you want me to bring you? Oh, we're supposed to talk after the show. Never mind. Okay.
Everybody, that's been Body and Spirit for tonight. We're kind of transitioning the show. You should see some differences. We're deciding where to go with it, and we're going to be making some changes. But the whole conversational aspect of it. So we took last month off because, well, I was busy, and we had the big Mama Ruby's event up in Louisville that just totally blew me away, wore me out. But Body and Spirit is back. Look for us every couple of 3 weeks. Everybody, tonight's guest has been Coyote Chris Sutton. Find him at coyotechris.com. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thanks, Wes.